In this demonstration, we'll look at how Windows installs drivers for plug-and-play devices. When installing devices, you should always follow the instructions that came with the device. Typically, the device will have an installation disk that includes the drivers and often other software for getting the most out of the device. The process we're going to look at here is a generic process to use when you don't have an installation disk. Let's start by going to Device Manager. And I'll also go and open up my computer just to see the drives that are currently installed. Okay, I have a media card reader that uses a USB interface, and I'll insert the card reader into a USB port. Notice that automatically I'm shown a dialog as to what I want to do with the new drive that has been configured. If I switch over to Device Manager and expand the Universal Serial Bus Controllers, I can see that there is a USB mass storage device that was automatically added when I inserted the device. If I go to my computer and refresh the screen, and then scroll down, I can see drives that were added from my card reader. And I can browse the file system on the digital media card. So for this type of a device, when I inserted the device in the USB port, Windows automatically detected the device and configured the drivers for the device. The drivers were already built into Windows, so I did not need an installation disk. In fact, for this type of device, you typically will not have an installation disk, and the instructions will simply say, the driver is included with Windows, and insert the device into the USB port. If you have a device such as this and you insert it into the port, but it is not automatically detected, one thing you can do is to go to Device Manager, right-click at the top, and choose Scan for Hardware Changes. When you scan for hardware changes, your computer looks for plug-and-play devices that exist in the system. So if it has missed the insertion of the device, you can scan to force it to look again for those devices. With a storage device such as this, there's a chance that if I just simply remove the device from my computer, I might end up with some data corruption on the drive. For example, it may be in the process of writing data to the disk, or there may be some background processes that are using the files on the disk. So I need to be careful that I don't simply pull the card or the reader out of my computer. I can simply right-click on the drive and choose Eject. And that puts this media in the state that I can safely remove it without doing any harm to the data on the media. Then when I add the media again to the reader, it will be detected again and configured for use. If I want to remove the entire media reader, which in this case has several drive letters that are possible, I could right-click on a drive and choose Safely Remove. Another common option is to use the icon in the system tray that's labeled Safely Remove Hardware. If I right-click this and choose Safely Remove Hardware, then I'm given a list of devices that I can stop. In this case, I'll choose the USB mass storage device and choose Stop. I'm shown all of the drives that are currently attached to this device, and when I click OK, the device is disabled so that I can safely remove it from my computer. Before I remove it, if I go back to Device Manager and scroll down to find that device, I'll see that the icon for the device has changed. And if I look at its properties, I notice that the hardware it cannot be used because it is ready for safe removal. When I remove the device from my computer, then the device will disappear from Device Manager. So that's how to install and remove a device that is automatically detected by Windows. I have here another device that's a plug-and-play device, and let me connect it to my computer and see what happens. So when I connect this device, the first thing I see is I have a message that asks me that it needs to find the driver for the device. And it asks me what I want to do, whether I should locate and install the software, whether I should try it again later, or not show the message. Before I keep going, let me just open this window down here. This icon shows the status for the device installation. I'm going to open that up so we can kind of see what happens as the device installed. And then I'll tell Windows to locate the driver software for me automatically. Notice that now my computer is searching the Windows Update website for a driver that is compatible with this device. The behavior for looking for drivers at Windows Update is controlled by a setting on the Advanced System Properties. If I go to Advanced System Settings, and then on the Hardware tab, there's a Windows Update Driver Settings. And in this case, this controls whether my computer will check Windows Update for drivers. And the default is to automatically check Windows Update for those drivers. Notice that using Windows Update requires a connection to the internet. This is because the computer actually queries servers at Microsoft for updated drivers that match the devices. So now Windows has finished searching the Windows Update website and has not found a driver that is compatible with the hardware. It is asking me to insert the disk that came with this hardware. As soon as I insert the disk, Windows will automatically search the disk for the appropriate drivers. In this case, I don't have a disk, so I need to have some other options to install the device. The first option, check for a solution, basically says give up trying and check with Microsoft to see if there's anything else we can do. But in this case, because the drivers were not found on the Windows Update website, I've downloaded the drivers to my computer. So now I need to tell the installation process to browse my computer for the driver software that I've already downloaded. Here's the path to the driver files. So I'll click Next. And during the installation, I'm prompted that Windows can't verify the publisher of the driver software. This means that the software itself does not have a digital signature. The digital signature is used to verify that the software came from the organization that claims to have published the software. You can install software that does not have a digital signature. However, you do not gain some of the advantages that come from having the digital signature. For one thing, you may not be totally confident that the software has actually come from the company that you think it has. It may have been modified, and it could represent some malicious code. In Windows Vista and Windows 7, this is the default behavior for all unsigned drivers. You will be prompted to verify that you want to install the driver if it is not signed. Let's take a quick look at Windows XP. On Windows XP, I can actually customize this behavior. If I go and right-click my computer and choose Properties, then on the Hardware tab, there's a Driver Signing button. And the driver signing lets me choose what I want to have happen when an unsigned driver attempts to load. In this case, the default is set to warn and prompt me each time to choose an action. That is the default for Windows XP, and it is the only setting that's possible in Windows Vista. In Windows XP, I could change it to ignore and install the software anyway, regardless of whether it has a digital signature, or I could block and not allow installing any unsigned driver. So on XP, I can customize how unsigned drivers are handled. With Windows Vista, the default and the only option is to prompt you each time an unsigned driver is encountered. Let's go back to my installation, and I'll just choose to install the driver because I trust the driver, and Windows continues to add the driver for the device. And now it's successfully installed. And my status window shows me that the device is ready to use. If I go into Device Manager now, I can see that the device has been added. So when installing new devices, the first thing you should do is follow the instructions that came with the device. In many cases, this means running a setup program that came with the device. For USB devices, you will typically run the setup program before connecting the device. And then when you connect the device, it will be detected and configured automatically. If the hardware did not come with an installation disk, then you can insert the device and have Windows search automatically for the driver. Windows includes many drivers for many common generic devices, such as media card readers. If it can't find the driver, the default behavior is to search automatically on the Windows Update website for an updated driver file. Some manufacturers may put their drivers on the Windows Update website so that they are available for automatic use. If that's not the case, however, you will need to download the driver and then install the software or add the driver so that Windows can use your device.